That's roadworks to blame for the queues all around there, maybe especially back onto Priory Crescent, the queues there are back as far as Eastern Avenue. And Bretton Cheese Hill, Benfleet, I can see congestion there both ways on the A13. Motorways across Essex pretty much okay. There's a bit of a build-up just heading into the county at the Dartford Tunnel on the anti-clockwise M25. If you're travelling on the railways, no major delays this afternoon. If you can update me, 0800 111 4041. I'm Barry Lewis, and there's more in 30 minutes.
Hi, I'm Joe Wicks, and this year I'm asking for your help to raise loads of money for BBC Children in Need.
Walk and talk.
I'd love you to get your friends and family together to go for a walk in your favourite spot, challenging yourself to get the steps in to support children and young people where you live. Do 1 mile, do 5 miles, or even 100 miles. It's up to you, because walking and talking is good for all of us. Just go to bbc.co.uk/Pudsey to get involved and start fundraising.
Walk and talk for BBC Children in Need
on BBC Essex.
I've got my pedometer at the ready for that one.
The sound. The sound of Essex. And all the music you love. BBC. BBC Essex.
Good afternoon, it's 4:19 now. Heading towards Christmas, there's a very special concert happening at the Cliffs Pavilion in Southend. And I'm delighted to say that Il Divo are back. After the tragic death of Carlos, one of their members, a couple of years ago, the band have really found it hard to be able to get back together and to find that rich harmony that we all love so much. Of course, Il Divo, one of the most successful crossover groups of all time. And when I spoke earlier on, a very emotional chat coming up with David Miller, who's one of the group's tenor singers, he took me through a little bit of the history of Il Divo first.
We were put together back in 2004 by Simon Cowell. And it was the four of us. We were all the original members for 18 years. Myself, Urs Bühler from Switzerland, Sebastian Isambard from France, and Carlos Marin from Spain. And they put the four of us in a room and said, here's a handful of Simon's favorite songs. What can you do with this? And we really just kind of got on with it in a very, the three of us being opera singers, and it is normal to enter into kind of a musical endeavor together with people you've never met before, and you just, you have a mutual respect for each other as professionals, you have a mutual respect for music, and everyone just digs in and tries to do their best. And that's what we really did. We didn't know each other's personalities, we didn't know each other's voices, and but we just got on with it. And it was a real, it was a very big process of experimentation. When we finally delivered that to the world, people really enjoyed it. I think they loved that it was a labor of love for us, and they got on board really quick. And they, in the spirit of international cooperation, I think, it kind of served as a musical role model for that anything's possible when people put their minds and hearts into something.
And that's what comes through in your music, isn't it? And we've talked before about how you bring people together through your music and also introduce people to music which they may not have discovered for themselves over the years by bringing it into the mainstream the way you do. You mentioned Carlos there, obviously a huge loss to the world of music and to you guys in particular. I mean, what's it like, going back out on the road without him now?
Well, it's been a challenging process. It all kind of happened last December so suddenly. We were really, kind of what felt like on the edge of being past COVID. But really turns out we were still right in the middle of it. And maybe it was a bit premature to go out the way we did, but we felt very confident. And we did our best to take all the precautions, and it was for a Christmas tour, and we had gotten 5 performances in, and Carlos did fall ill. Because of the nature of everything, it was really complicated how it happened. He went into hospital, and we couldn't be there. And then Urs and Sebastian also came down with COVID. They didn't have to be hospitalized, but they were isolated for 10 days, and it really was just kind of this crazy moment in time for everything and everyone, and it all just, our worlds were turned upside down. And when he passed away, we had no idea how we were going to get through it. We had no idea. We thought this is the end of Il Divo, and very soon after the funeral and the memorial, and we had to send in videos to the family because we couldn't be there in person because it was just such a nightmare, and we didn't know if there was a future for us. And we got so much support from fans, so much support from fans in the UK, but also from around the world. And they said, please, guys, we love you guys. We love the music. Please don't let this be here. So we rallied. We did our best to rally and figure out, how can we move forward from this? The first kind of idea was maybe it could just be the three of us, but in truth, the way that we had created these songs and the way we had kind of dug a groove for ourselves musically, it required a baritone's voice. The three of us don't have that kind of depth, that roundness, that that heavier sound that Carlos had. And so trying to rearrange these songs, they all just sounded thin with our voices, trying to carry the whole load. So we came up with the idea of what if we brought in someone to sing Carlos's parts within the context of the song, and to kind of lend their voice as a special guest to just kind of help us get through this. And so we found Stephen Labrie, who was a colleague of mine from the ensemble, and we had sung outside of Il Divo together. And he's a wonderful performer. He's got a wonderful voice and a very willing, helpful, friendly attitude as a singer. And we asked him to sing some a cappella, what is your voice sound like on these tracks? And he sent back some kind of a cappella recordings. And we thought, there was all of a sudden there was a glimmer of hope that, this might work. So we went through a huge process of trying to catch him up to speed with the entire set list of what we were planning to sing, of getting him across all of Carlos's parts, and then kind of moving into rehearsal period and getting all the way up until that first performance. And I think that first performance was really the first moment where the three of us really had to take stock of what had happened since that previous December, standing behind that curtain with the overture playing, where it was always the four of us, now it was the three of us. And it hit us like a ton of bricks. And that curtain came up, and we couldn't get through the first four songs. It was just an emotional outpouring. But the audience was there with us, and they were supporting us through every emotional kind of falling downness. And with every performance, it just, we felt a little bit more strength and a little bit more release. Music, we've been told by our audiences how our music was a source of healing for them. So we really were kind of using our own mechanism for our own process of healing. With every concert, we were able to breathe just a little bit more. It's still there. It's still, yesterday was Carlos's birthday, for example, on the 13th. And there are still reminders everywhere around the world. He was with us for 18 years, and everywhere we're going to right now, somewhere, there's something to remind us of him. So, it's an ongoing process of healing for us and for the audiences. It's not just us who've been through this COVID trauma. It's the whole world. So we're having this situation where the audiences are also healing their traumas that they've been through, the people that they've lost in their lives. So there's this calibration of this concert really is different from anything else that's ever happened for us.
And of course, you're bringing some Christmas to Southend, a very special show, this one, obviously with Carlos very much still in your minds as well. What kind of things can we expect this Christmas then? What are we looking forward to?
Well, Christmas is always, at its best, a joyful time. And, but that being said, we can't get away from the fact that he passed away right around Christmas. So I think there will always be kind of this bittersweet, this kind of, for lack of a better phrase, because we are, grown this point, but still there's a loss of innocence around this. And so we want to enliven the Christmas spirit. And at the same time, we are still remembering Harlem. So there's this kind of bittersweet juxtaposition. We're bringing, our full complement of Christmas repertoire and weaving that in to some of the more uplifting and Christmas-friendly songs like You Raise Me Up or Hallelujah, things that have an emotionally uplifting nature.